A very good evening. Sorry. A very good afternoon to you, ladies and gentlemen. We will be starting in the next 10 minutes. In fact, make that 9. We welcome you all. Let's just be patient enough to welcome everyone that will be joining us shortly. A very good afternoon to you, ladies and gentlemen. You all look fantastic, and welcome to the Postgraduate Welcoming function. I am Yibanati Makinana, and I'm very honored to be your MC for today. As we are about to start, in fact, as we are starting, I would love us to give a very warm welcome to Zama Zulu, who will be blessing us with her voice today. A round of applause, please. Again, and again. Zama is looking fantastic. Zama, the stage is yours. one. If you found that beautiful, please give a round of applause. Thank you so much, Zama Zulu, for blessing us with such a sensational performance. Today is a beautiful day, and the theme on its own for this event is a beautiful theme. It simply states that you belong. It's very simple, but it has a very intentional meaning. It speaks to you as a postgraduate student. It simply says that you belong. You are a part of this institution. You belong to the University of Free State. You are a part of community, and you're not just a part, but you're very important. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like us now to welcome the Assistant Director of the Center for Graduate Support that was previously known as the Postgraduate School, Mr. Danila Vessels, who will be doing the welcoming. Order of the day, overview of the PGS, and introduction of guests. Danila, please welcome you on stage.
If I have to be like you, I fit in. But if I get to belong, and that is what the Center for Graduate Support wants to do, to be there for you to get to be you, to belong here to the postgraduate community at the University of the Free State, right here where you are. Therefore, start this postgraduate journey with us. Or return to this journey with us in 2022. And we are indeed glad to see you and have you here with us. Let me start by welcoming the first-time postgraduate students and those who are returning today. Secondly, I want to acknowledge in their absence today Professor Peterson, the Rector of the Free State University, Professor Vetoon, Vice Rector, Research and Internationalization, Professor Mutsi, the Director of the Center for Graduate Support. A sincere word of welcome to our guest speakers, to Dr. Hagenmeyer, the Director of International Affairs at the University of the Free State, who will address us on the role of internationalization in higher education. Dr. Matabula, a senior researcher at the Center for Development Support, who will explain to us why it is so important to finish what you have started. Mr. Zikali, research assistant at the Office of International Affairs, who will give us an overview of the International Affairs Office. Mrs. Esma van Tonder, Chief Officer and Research Librarian of the Library and Information Services, who will indicate the kind of support that the library provides. Dr. Hein Badenhorst, Assistant Director of Housing and Residence Affairs, who will point out the placement options for postgraduate students on and off campus. Ms. Lisa Wolmerans, Counseling Psychologist at Student Counseling and Development at the University, who will elaborate on how to take care of your mental health. Mrs. Maricel van Rooyen from the Directorate of Research Development, who will make research ethics more clear. Dr. Niam from the Department of Disaster Management, who will discuss the importance of belonging to a postgraduate community. Dr. Makati, Chief Officer and Academic Writing Expert at the Center for Graduate Support, who will elaborate on academic writing services. Mr. Prince Koza, Chief Officer, leading the Center for Graduate Support, the Funding Office, who will tell us more about the funding options available to postgraduate students. The Postgraduate Student Council, who will take anyone interested here on a campus tour at the end of today's events. True belonging doesn't require us to change who we are. It requires us to be who we are. Therefore, be who you are and be at home at the University of the Free State while on your postgraduate journey. Trust yourself, your passions and your sorrows, and truly belong. I thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Nilo. I do believe now everyone is welcomed and everyone can feel at ease. Now we're going to move on to Dr. Cornelius Hagenmeyer, who is the Director of the Office for International Affairs. He will be touching on the role of internalization in higher education. Dr. Cornelius, the stage is yours.
Thank you very much, Program Director, international postgraduate and all postgraduate students. First, before I share a little bit on internationalization, I want to welcome you wholeheartedly from the Office of International Affairs to the University of the Free State. Of course, the International Office is the home for international students, and our team will later be explaining what exactly the work is we are doing for international students. But students, this is not where it ends. We are also the home for all international students who are interested in engaging with other countries and cultures. Again, our team will be later sharing with you what the opportunities are, both here at the home campus and when working with our international partners, when going for the international opportunities, which at times allow you to get out of the campus, out of the country, and be at an international partner for some time. Colleagues and postgraduate students, many of you may so far be unfamiliar with the concept of internationalization. In a nutshell, it refers to the infusion of international and intercultural elements into all aspects of the university. However, for it to qualify as internationalization, it has to be intentional and it has to enrich and improve the quality of education and/or contribute to the impact which higher education is having in society. Now, this all sounds very abstract. So why is it that for you, as postgraduate students, it matters that the university is internationalized? Why is it that it matters that you yourself get involved in the internationalization process and make sure that you are having an international experience whilst studying with us? Students, first, we need to be aware that knowledge is universal, but that we also have very rich indigenous knowledge in our country and on our continent, which is worthwhile researching and sharing. Colleagues, students, it is important that when we look at research, we enrich it by studying it through paradigms from different contexts, that we don't limit ourselves just to our own local approaches. Same time, the international exposure and involvement is critical for you. We are living in an increasingly globalized world. And first, to be able to engage globally, you need to be used to it. Through the exposure, you develop your own intercultural competence. You get used to working with fellow researchers in the future, once you have graduated, with colleagues from all over the globe. This exposure also helps you to be more employable, but I think the main driver must be that it is so enriching to work with fellow students, with academics, with fellow researchers from all over the world. While doing so, you can develop your own personal networks, and those networks later, should you choose a career in research, are critical for you to be part of the global scientific community. But should you go out to private business, work for government, still those networks will be enriching you for the rest of your life. So colleagues, students, how do you get involved? First of all, when writing, consider literature from all over the world, but also consider, because equally important as international knowledge is indigenous knowledge, and also consider there are many more knowledge paradigms but just the Western one, so engage with them. Don't limit your work to any knowledge paradigm, but think, look out, check globally, what are the different approaches. Don't limit yourself just to one knowledge paradigm. Second, I want to call on you to seek opportunities for international exposure. Later, our colleague Becky is going to share with you on some of the opportunities and how we promote them. Not in depth, but he will refer you to the ways in which you can find the information. We have actually in our office a designated colleague who will engage you with this. But for you, it is important not to wait for the information to come to you, but to go out there, ask the questions, participate the sessions, but go further, research yourself, look for the opportunities. From our side, the commitment, where you need support in pursuing them, it will be there from the side of our office. Last, please engage on campus. To make it a bit easier, our colleague Bulelva, who is in our midst, is coordinating the Umoja Buddy program, which intentionally connects local and international students for mutual enrichment and cross-fertilization. Please participate. Same time, there will be many diversity functions. We are going to have once again a rich celebration of Africa Month at the university. Students, colleagues, please participate. Be part of it, contribute, not only passively participate by reading, watching, coming to the face-to-face functions. But next week there will be a call for contributions, and that call is open also to student contributions. So please be part of it. Summing up, it is your choice what you make out of your studies. It is your choice whether you come out of your degree not only with a document, but also as a graduate with an international outlook, as a graduate who has developed lifelong international friendships and networks. So on this note, I want to wish you from the Office for International Affairs success in your studies, and I hope that you will be leaving the university with a truly global outlook. Thank you very much.
Dr. Cornelius, that was very fruitful and very informative. Thank you so much. Before we proceed, may we please acknowledge our SRC President, Mr. Luvuyo Jacobs. A round of applause, please. Can we also kindly show some appreciation to the Chairperson of the Postgraduate Student Council, Mr. Bunolo Ndlovu. Again, may we please show some appreciation to Ms. Alina Tsiebane, who heads the Community Outreach Portfolio within the Council. Thank you very much for that. Mr. Bunolo Ndlovu, would you please honor me on stage and say a few words? A round of applause again.
No, thank you, everybody. I'm so shocked because I wasn't here. But my name is Bonolo Ndlovu. I am the chairperson of the Postgraduate Student Council. Of course, I'm serving under the capable leadership of President Luvuyo Jacobs. I don't see him here. Oh, he's there at the back. Yeah. So when I took over this role, of being the chairperson of the Postgraduate Student Council, it hasn't been that much active. So inheriting this obviously was such a huge task because we've been trying to find out what is it that the Postgraduate Student Council is supposed to do, except, advocating for students. But when you read our mission there, it will say, we want to encourage a research that is going to be talking on socio-economic development. And I am one of the people that share the view that institutions of higher learning are a microcosm of society. So this year, what the Postgraduate Student Council will be doing is literally that, encouraging research that is going to be groundbreaking, research that is going to be changing the world. And I just wanted to say to the new postgraduate students, welcome to the University of the Free State and to the, sorry, I'm so nervous and yeah. I literally don't even know why I'm here. But to the new postgraduate students, I just wanted to say welcome to the University of the Free State. And to the ongoing students, I just wanted to say, please help us to help you as we advocate on this journey. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Ndlovu. That was very beautiful. Now, can you please kindly give our undivided attention to the importance of finishing what you have started? A person who will be blessing us with this talk will be Dr. Mikateko Matebula, but before she joins me on stage, may you kindly please allow me to read her biography. Dr. Mikateko Matebula is a senior researcher at the Sachi Chair's Higher Education and Human Development Research Program, Center for Development Support in the University of Free State. Her work examines through a capabilities lens the relationship between processes of higher education, development, and human flourishing in South Africa, particularly for low-income and/or rural youth. Her current projects include a longitudinal study on the post-university life trajectories of rural youth. It is funded by the NRF 2021 to 2023, a scoping study of the educational trajectories of youth from informal settlements funded by the SRHE 2022, and research on universities as sustainable communities funded by the ESRC 2021 to 2022. She has published a monograph, articles in local and international journals, and book chapters in edited volumes. Her forthcoming book is co-authored by Prof. Melanie Walker, Prof. Monica McLean, and Dr. Patience Mukwambo, and is titled Low-Income Students, Human Development and Higher Education in South Africa, Opportunities, Obstacles, and Outcomes. Dr. Mikateko Matebula, please bless your presence on stage.
Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you so much for that very generous reading of my bio. When I was first asked to talk about the value and importance of a postgraduate degree or postgraduate studies, as well as the importance of finishing what you started, I thought, where am I going to start? There's so many reasons why it is a worthwhile thing to pursue, but at the same time, there's probably an equal number of reasons why it doesn't necessarily make sense for most people. So I thought maybe a good starting point would be to reflect on my own journey, so my own experience, and I'm hoping that as I do this, some of the questions that you might have for yourselves might be answered, and so here goes. My postgraduate journey started in October 2009 when I enrolled in a master's degree at the University of Bremen in Germany. Dr. Hagenmeier was just talking about opportunities to study abroad, and ironically, this is how it happened for me. It was a cooperation between the University of the Free State and the University of Bremen in Germany. When this opportunity presented itself to me, I jumped on it for several reasons. There are three reasons that stand out for me that I'll mention today. First, it's because I thought it was an exciting opportunity. Second, I was curious. And third, it was convenient in some ways. It was exciting because it would give me the opportunity to live and study abroad, in Europe, in Germany, and at the time this represented a place that I'd never been to before. In terms of curiosity, I was curious about how I could learn at the postgraduate level and what it would expose me to that I hadn't yet had the opportunity to learn at the undergraduate level. The convenience part came from the fact that I had some funding from the DAAD, or the German Academic Exchange Service. This meant that I could progress to master's without first having to complete an honors degree in South Africa. No jokes. So, in addition to that, after about 3 to 4 years of undergraduate study, I wasn't convinced that I was really ready to launch into a career and present myself to the world as a fully fledged adult who was ready to do a 9-to-5 job. So I thought, let me study further and see where this takes me. Additionally, the degree that I'd done at undergraduate level was a Bachelor of Social Sciences degree. So it lended itself really well to pursuing postgraduate studies because there were many directions that I could take. And so I opted to study further. And I think it paid off. My postgraduate experience not only fulfilled my curiosity, but it inspired me to study even further. And in many ways, it's shaped the career path that I've now chosen. This happened because I had the opportunity to work as an assistant researcher while I studied. My job was mainly transcribing interview recordings for a project that explored work beyond retirement age in Germany and the UK. It was a comparative study, so that meant some of the data that was being collected was being gathered in the UK with English-speaking participants. There were about 5 researchers working on different aspects of this really huge study, and they used a variety of methods to gather data, including interviews, as I said. When I saw the job advert, it said they were looking for somebody who had an undergraduate degree, somebody who was autonomous, who was a fast learner, and perhaps most importantly, they said they needed somebody who was fluent in English. So I applied, and I was invited for the interview, and I got the job. From then on, for about a whole year during my master's degree, every Friday I would sit in the office, I'd have the headphones on, the recordings of the interviews would be playing in my head, my feet would be tapping the transcription kit, and I'd be typing what I heard. At first, I thought it was quite a mechanical job because you were literally just sitting there typing what was in your ear. But over time, I realized that I was playing a small part in a broader project, one of capturing people's stories, people's life stories and their experiences about what life was like beyond retirement age. And so I was learning both from the process of transcribing these interviews, but also from the stories themselves. Now keep in mind that my own research project was a case study of intercultural communication between Germany and South Africa. I was looking at BMW. It had nothing to do with the project that I was working on. But while the research topic of work beyond retirement age was not something I was particularly interested in, as I did this work, I found myself asking several questions. And so I often wondered, like, what will the situation be like for my own parents when they retire? Is there a safety net for them? How will they manage? Will they have to continue working? And will they be able to continue working? I found myself also wondering for myself, like, what would happen once I reach retirement age? Would there be opportunities for me to work, and so on? I could certainly imagine myself wanting to work beyond retirement age, but at the same time I thought, of course, I would appreciate the opportunity to choose not to. So I'm digressing quite a bit here, but the point is, while I was a postgraduate student, I was learning all the time, or at least I was surrounded by opportunities to learn. Opportunities to wonder, to ask questions, to think, but also to debate, to discuss, investigate, and perhaps most importantly, to think critically. So that is, instead of taking information at face value, or even taking people's opinions and their stories at face value, I was learning to ask questions. Questions like, is there another way to understand this situation? Is there a different angle from which to approach the problem? Am I sure that my understanding is well informed? Have I considered other angles? I was learning to say, wait a minute, is that really true? And also, where does this information come from? Who conducted the research, and what methods did they use? Most importantly, perhaps, I was learning to kind of ask questions about how I would know that what I was looking at in front of me was actually valid. And again, I'm digressing, but the point is, during my postgraduate journey, I developed a deeper interest in research, a deeper interest in the process of conceptualizing, identifying, articulating a question or a problem, and then taking the necessary steps to find out what, where, who, why, and so on. So as you can guess, towards the end of my master's degree, I had a strong feeling that I wanted to continue studying. Not because I had to, but because I felt compelled to. I wanted to see where my interest could take me. Plus, the director of the research group I was working for was a total badass. She was young, she was ambitious, she had recently completed her own PhD, and now she was managing this huge research grant and overseeing about 4 to 5 PhD candidates, including myself working as a research assistant. And this allowed me to get a sneak peek at what a career in research could look like. I was inspired. So after completing my master's in science, Master of Science in Industrial Psychology in 2012, I started looking for PhD funding opportunities, and I soon returned to South Africa in 2013 to complete my doctoral studies on a full scholarship at the Higher Education and Human Development Research Group, right here at the University of the Free State. 3 years later, I graduated with a PhD in Development Studies, and after a short period as a postdoctoral fellow, I was appointed as a senior researcher on the ESRC-funded Mirato project. In this project, over 5 years, I had the incredible privilege of working with distinguished scholars, both local and international, and the incredible opportunity to work with Professor Melanie Walker, who, as you all know, is an NRF A1 rated scholar and the Saatchi Chair in Higher Education and Human Development. I mean, my mind was blown, and it still is. The project that we worked on examined the factors and dynamics that influence the achievement of higher education learning outcomes for low-income youth who come from rural areas and townships in South Africa. We completed the project last year, and as was mentioned earlier on, there is a forthcoming book that you should look out for from that project. But now, I'm a principal investigator on my own projects. I work with colleagues on a variety of projects that were mentioned earlier on. As highlighted in my bio, My current research includes longitudinal studies on the post-university life trajectories of young people from rural areas, a scoping study on the access to higher education for young people who come from rural areas and informal settlements in particular, as well as a participatory study that looks at how we can reconceptualize universities as sustainable communities, and we're working particularly with student activists. I'm mentioning all of this to kind of highlight some of the things that concern me, issues that concern me at the moment, things that I want to understand better, things that I want to shed light on, and issues that fulfill my intellectual curiosity, but at the same time are also very close to my heart. Of course, I know that I'm very lucky to have had the opportunity to pour my curiosity into research and then to turn research into a career. And I obviously didn't achieve any of it on my own. I've had tremendous support from a lot of people, way too many to mention. I had information at my disposal, and again, Dr. Hagenmeier mentioned this earlier on about the importance of seeking out the information and making sure that you're well informed about the opportunities that are in front of you. So I had a lot of information at my disposal, but of course, luck also played a huge role in where I am. So the reasons why I think it was worth it for me to pursue postgraduate studies is that doing so introduced me to a new world. New sources of information, new knowledge, new ways of thinking, new ways of engaging with people, and learning from them. I was introduced to new ways of approaching research, and so I also learned new skills. How to read better, not just to understand the content well enough to pass a test, but to gain a new sense of understanding and to be able to make connections between old ideas and new ones, to make connections between what I knew to be true and what I assumed was false. Overall, I learned to question more. And of course, I also developed things like presentation skills, which I hope is somewhat demonstrable today. And despite the fact that it was a very challenging process and at times extremely frustrating, I enjoyed it very much. Even the part where I had to live in Germany and learn how to speak German in order to be accepted into a master's program. So I know that the way that things have turned out for me is not how they will turn out for most people. It's not how it will turn out for most of you in this room today. And I don't think they should. This is because we come into the postgraduate journey from different places. And by that I mean we come from different situations with dissimilar intentions and needs, with diverse aspirations and different possibilities. For these reasons, the value of a postgraduate study varies depending on who you are and what aspirations you have, as well as the support system that you have around you and the broader conditions of possibility that shape your life opportunities. But if you're convinced that you want to pursue a career in research or perhaps an academic career, talk to people who've been there and done that, so that you can make an informed decision about pursuing, for example, a PhD, as I did. The road is tough, and the returns are not necessarily what you might hope them to be, but the process is certainly fulfilling, and having a PhD does open doors. If you're curious and you're eager to learn something new, or you're keen to gain a broader understanding or a perspective on life, or a deeper understanding of a particular issue or problem or phenomenon, consider studying further. And if you've already registered, as many of you might have, whether it's for a postgraduate diploma or an honors or a master's, and regardless of whether you need this qualification for meeting job requirements, or whether you feel like it's the right thing to do at this point as a young adult, or simply because it's kind of making sense, if you might be wondering if it's the right path to take, or you're feeling stuck or uncertain, seek advice for a way forward. That's what the postgraduate school is here for. And perhaps most importantly, find out what kind of adjustments that you can make so that you figure out how to carve your own unique path through postgraduate studies. This is what's going to help you to kind of finish what you started. And it's extremely important, not only for your personal growth and development, but it's very rewarding. So, to answer the question quite simply, I would say don't doubt yourself. If you've started, keep going and finish it because it's worth it. Thank you.
Dr. Matebola, that was very sensational and inspiring. I'm also taking notes as an undergrad. Maybe I shouldn't go to the career field as yet. I should just go to postgrad because this is quite exciting, I do believe. But Dr. Matebola, we would like to appreciate you with some gifts. Can you kindly please give her a round of applause again? Thank you so, so much for your input. We truly appreciate it. And now moving on to the next item, from the International Office, we are going to welcome Mr. Begumusa Zikali from the International Office that will be presenting on the offerings offered by the Office of International Affairs. Mr. Begumusa, the stage is yours.
Afternoon, everyone. I'd like to welcome you all, and I'm quite nervous because, hey, Dr. Matebola, she just took everything. Okay, so today I'm going to speak about the overall overview of the Office of International Affairs. I'll try to be as brief as possible. Actually, my intention is to be as brief as possible. So we'll start with, just a second. Is it working? Okay. All right, we'll start with the first slide where I'd like to say this. Internationalization is an important component to our institution where the UFS provides an excellent experience to both international and local students through our dedicated support that is provided by the OIA, which serves as the first port of call for all international students at the institution. So now we have quite a number of divisions within the OIA, which is the International Students Admissions, Internationalization at Home, International Scholarships, Web Content and Marketing, International Partnerships, Collaborative Degrees and Ongoing Mobility, Institutional Reporting, Research and Special Projects, then lastly, our comprehensive internationalization of the QwaQwa campus. I'm going to briefly speak about each portfolio. With the international student admissions, we are here for you, from admissions through our one-stop shop to the immigration, making sure that you have and meet the necessary requirements based on immigration, which is be it your visa, your health insurance, and you can come to us at any time so we can assist you in those regards. Then comes internationalization at home, where here we're speaking about the social integration and building intercultural competences. So the IAH promotes and executes purposefully the integration of international and intercultural dimensions into the formal and informal curriculum of the institution, where students within their domestic learning environment. Through the UPP, which is one of the programs that we are putting forefront, we are here to enhance the student experience with the aim to connect international students with local students through fostering meaningful lifelong friendships that will enhance the international and intercultural competencies and to realize the goal of internationalization at home, which is social, cultural, and academic integration. Our next portfolios is international scholarships and web content, where this portfolio promotes and disseminates information on international scholarships and opportunities. So I do hope you guys do keep regularly checking your emails, and also you can find this on the website. So then the next one is the international, then the next one is the International Partnerships, Collaborative Degrees, and Outgoing Mobility, which is one of the programs that Dr. went through in Germany for. The portfolio creates and strengthens its network with universities worldwide with an aim to establish joint projects, collaborative degrees on master's and PhD level, and short-term study abroad opportunities, which is academic exchange programs, through signed MOU agreements. The last two is the institutional reporting, research, and special projects. So as a research-led university, the university focuses on the research of internationalization, where the OIA facilities enables this through a dedicated support for researchers. It also coordinates mandatory reporting on internationalization. Besides, it coordinates and supports selected strategic internationalization projects such as ICUDU, where we have funding of almost 1 million euros. The last portfolio is the comprehensive internationalization of the Qwaqwa campus, and which is an OIA satellite office that supports comprehensive internationalization of the Qwaqwa campus and including international student administration. Where you can find us and where you are always welcome to come is just across the road is the Theology Building on the 2nd floor. And then these are the necessary portfolio leaders or portfolio heads that you can contact in respect to what you guys would be interested in engaging with us on. And we'll be always happy to help. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Pegumusa. I would like to quickly announce that right after the program, may you please go to the different stalls at the back to interact with the departments. There will definitely be goodies there. So right after the program, may you please be informed to do that. Now, we will be moving on to, I'm not sure about the title, but let me just say, Mr. Hesma van Donder, who will be touching on supporting offered by library services. Mr. Hesman van Donder, the stage is yours. Miss, I'm so sorry. I am genuinely so sorry. Miss Hesman van Donder, the stage is yours.
Good morning. This is my second sex change for the day, so I'm really a female. Good morning. So, like she introduced me, I'm from the library. I'm quickly going to run through the PowerPoint to tell you what services the library can offer you. There's been mentioned by all the previous speakers about international research, internationalization, international information, and that's where the library can come and assist you to find those international information and all other. Okay, so first of all, we've got your research support. So we as the library can help you from the start till the finish of your research by helping you determine a research topic, finding the information, getting the outputs there, finding research data, all those things, we're there to assist you. Then the postgraduate research unit, if you don't know about the research unit yet, this is the most beautiful place in the library. You see the services that we offer there, it's on level 6 in the Sasol library. And then the very last slide, it's true, we give you access to cold water, to hot water. You just have to bring your own coffee and your own cup to make yourself some coffee tea. We offer you a fridge services, and we also offer you a microwave. So yes, you can eat and drink in the library on level 6. Okay, because we know you're sitting there all day studying, doing research, you're more than welcome. And all the other services as well. Then the Digital Scholarship Center, that's on level 4 in the library. It's a new center. We'll help you with everything digital that you might need. Getting your data uploaded or getting other data, your academic presence, everything you can see there. You're more than welcome to go and visit them. They can help you with visualization of your data, anything that you think is necessary. Then we also offer training by the library in the various use of the various databases, the bibliometrics, altmetrics. If you don't know what that is, please come to us. We will tell you what is bibliometrics, especially if you're a master's or PhD student. It gets very important to be out there to know that people know about you. Referencing Fidelio, that's a very nice tool, which we'll tell you about if you just ask us, etc. Then the loan period for postgraduate students, if you are staying in Bloemfontein, you're allowed 15 books for a month. If you're not from Bloemfontein, you can borrow 20 books for 6 weeks. Books can be renewed as well. And then e-books, please note, it's not the library that says you can only borrow the book for an hour or download 5 pages. It's publisher dependent. Then interlibrary loans, should we do not have access to a book or a journal article, interlibrary loans are there to assist you. They then get the book or the article from another library for you for free. A book you can then just use and it's been sent back. Obviously an article it's digital and it's, well, obviously you to download and keep. And letter of introduction, this only applies to masters and doctoral students. If you want to visit another university in South Africa's library, you just contact us. We will give you a form to complete and then give you a letter of introduction saying, you're a student of this university, please allow the student into another university in South Africa's library. Okay, unfortunately, it's only for masters and doctoral students, not for honor students. When you're done with your thesis or dissertations, again, masters and doctorates, you have to upload your thesis or dissertation onto our institutional repository. You can just visit that website. Everything is there for you, how to do it. And if you need assistance, obviously you come to us and we will gladly assist you. Library hours from 8 till 10 during the term. During exams, we are open 24/7, Saturdays 9 to 1. And then your 2 research librarians who's most probably met us outside. It's me and Mrs. Carmen now who's assisting you. So please come visit us, email us, contact us if you need anything. Also, if you want to know more about the Digital Scholarship Center, Mrs. Skoutema van Wyk is outside at our store. Please pay the store a visit. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Ms. van Donder. That was very beautiful and very informative. I do hope now the library services are very much clear to everyone. Next up, we have Mr. Hein Badenhorst, who will be working hand-to-hand with Vence Mapupa. He is from Housing and Residence Affairs, and he will be presenting on the placement options available for postgraduate. Mr. Hein Badenhorst with Ms. Vence, will you please honor us on the stage?
Thank you for that welcoming and introduction. You know, housing is often part of the process. Sometimes at the end, when you are knowing that you will come to university, sometimes you start already from the onset of your process to, if you're coming from outside South Africa, as part of your planning, where will I stay when I'm coming to campus and I will research during those 3-year period, what will be my home? Now, Housing and Residence Affairs provide a support service although we are no longer in the support service section on campus, we are reporting to the Executive Dean, Mr. Themba Tlashu, in Student Affairs, and we provide the following services to our students. Amongst others, the Accommodation Administration side, that's really focusing on making accommodation options available to students, not only on undergraduate level, but specifically also to our students on postgraduate level. We have a conference section, we have the hospitality at coffee section looking after dining, catering, as well as postgraduate and visitor accommodation. We have a section looking at financial management, housekeeping, as well as physical residence services, looking at the maintenance of our buildings. Now, just to give you an indication of, or some context on the scope of our work, is that currently, across the 3 campuses, we are providing accommodation to 6,700 students. On the Bloemfontein campus, the majority of students are accommodated, 4,400. On the Kwakwa campus, 1,500, as well as on the South campus with recent developments, just under 800 students. Now, one of our key performance areas in HRA's strategic plan is to focus on the increase of our postgraduate students in all accommodation options on campus. At the moment, those are the numbers of postgraduate students that we are accommodating across the 3 campuses, with the majority of students on the 4 levels accommodated on the Bloemfontein campus. We are especially excited about the growth in the number of postdoctoral students. The number of 48 at the moment is our highest number ever, and it's still growing, and we hope that in the next few months that number will even go beyond 50. Now, if we look at the type of accommodation offerings that we do provide, we have particularly identified certain accommodation types on campus for students on master's, PhD, and postdoctoral level. And I know that some of our students here are currently staying in some of those accommodations. Koffsie Inn, President Steyn, our Protea unit for postdoctoral students, as well as a limited number of family units on campus. Now, if I can just touch for a moment on Koffsie Inn, there are 3 types of accommodation that we provide in Koffsie Inn. On ground floor level, we have our 1-bedroom apartments, which is really specifically aimed and occupied by postdoctoral students, in some cases married couples. Then we have a single room option where a student would share a bathroom with one other student. And then on the second floor we have single room facilities where you have a single room but you share the bathroom, kitchen and the lounge facility with other students on master's, PhD and postdoctoral level. Just a note also is that we have, as part of Koffsie Inn, the hotel, providing short stay accommodation to visiting scholars, lecturers, as well as other visitors. And this accommodation option may include breakfast if so desired. And then we also have on our Kwakwa campus a guest accommodation facility, a bed and breakfast for visitors to that campus. Then our President Steyn residence, that is a residence that is much older on campus. It's over 100 years old, and it's been known to accommodate for a long period of time students on master's, PhD and postdoctoral level. There are different room types within President Steyn. All of these rooms are en suite. In other words, that they have their own bathroom, as well as a kitchenette and a study area. There you can note the different prices per month. We also have sharing rooms in Presidentstein, and although this is not for postgraduate students, we have a standing arrangement with our health sciences faculty to assist with accommodation for final year students. And then also we have several rooms within this residence specifically equipped to accommodate students with disabilities, and in this case specifically for wheelchair-bound students. There I just want to share with you an image or two of Koffsie Inn on your left-hand side and Presidentstein on the right-hand side, but to many of us this will be a familiar image. Then Protea, I've mentioned, it is for postdoctoral students. There are 7 rooms in this unit, equipped with a kitchen as well as laundry facilities, and there is the monthly rent for the specific accommodation option. Then our student flats or family units, as I've referred to earlier, which are fairly limited at this stage, and it's very sought after, specifically from our postgraduate students, our married couples, as well as families with children. And we have currently a waiting list of 2 years plus at least for postdoctoral families who are looking for accommodation on campus. We have 2 options there, 1 bedroom and 2 bedroom units. There you have the monthly rent, and we need to acknowledge at this stage that it's a rental contract on a 1-year basis, possibly to extend that depending on your performance and your progress, as well as the feedback that we will get from either the supervisor or the postgraduate school. Then we do have other accommodation options for our students on honors level, as well as students on postgraduate and postgraduate diploma level and certificate level. Now, mostly these accommodation options are in senior residences, a number of annexes, a senior corridor also, as we refer to it. A limited number of single room options are available, and there you would get an idea of what the monthly rent would be for the different room types in senior residences. Now, on the Kwakwa and South Campus, we do have a limited number of postgraduate beds for students enrolled in postgraduate studies on those 2 campuses, 32 rooms on the South Campus, as well as 32 rooms on the Kwakwa campus, all single accommodation, of course. Now, off campus, at the moment, it's actually a difficult process for us, as we do not have specifically earmarked accommodation for students on postgraduate level off campus. We do have the process of accreditation, which we use to establish a network of service providers who can qualify to provide accommodation in accordance to the national set of norms and standards. As I've mentioned, it's mostly for our students on postgraduate level. Currently, there are unfortunately no dedicated accommodation setting outside for postgraduate students, including on higher level postgraduate students. So at this stage, students would reach out in their personal capacity if they don't manage to get accommodation on campus, to also consult with HRA's Office for Off-Campus Accommodation to assist in searching for accommodation outside the university. Now, we cannot be prescriptive to ask for beds specifically to be reserved for postgraduate accommodation, and therefore it is at the moment through our Office for Off-Campus Accommodation as a referral service, where we will try to assist to link you up with a service provider outside campus. Just a note on future developments in this regard is that we do hope that we can, with necessary funding, increase the level and the number of beds for postgraduate accommodation, especially focusing on senior residences, as well as a dedicated postgraduate village consisting of a number of units for students on higher level postgraduate studies, married couples, as well as families. It is important for us to keep a healthy relationship with the Center for Graduate Support, as it is a support in rendering towards students busy with research on campus, and through accommodation we would like to continue the support to provide accommodation to our visiting researchers. And therefore we would like to keep on strengthening our relationship and build on in future engagements in order to render that necessary support. Thank you, colleagues. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Hine. The past 2 years have been nothing but hectic. They've been hectic on a professional level, academically, psychologically. It has been hectic throughout the world. But now I want us to give a very warm welcome to our next speaker, who will be talking about taking care of our mental health. Ms. Liz Volmanrans is from Student Counseling and Development Department, and she'll be addressing mental health issues and raising awareness of the help her department offers. Ms. Liz, please kindly bless us with your presence on the stage.
Good afternoon, and thank you so much for that warm welcome. I'm happy to see your faces, half faces for some of you. I think we're getting, one of the days we'll have to be able to see all the faces. All right, so I'm not sure if you have my slideshow, and if I can advance it myself, I'm guessing. Just say Student Counseling Development. But if it's not there, it's fine, I can talk with Al. All right, so just in terms of, let me just start who we are. So we are the psychologists on campus, and as our MC mentioned, in terms of mental health, we help students with a wide array of challenges. So even from study skills to relationship issues to depression as well. So we really help with everything you can imagine. I know there's a lot of stigma still regarding psychologists and mental health. But there's a lot of pressure that people go through, and postgrad students especially. So we actually do see some postgrad students over the years that struggle with maintaining everything that you have to do. All right, so let me just then give you the brief overview, and if you have any questions, you're welcome to ask. Where we're situated is you literally just walk down this way, so you're going to Kalihiman, you pass Kalihiman, you'll see that there are basketball courts, Kofse Health Building, the medical doctors are at the bottom. Up the stairs, you'll find us. Okay. So most importantly, all our services are free. You will never pay for any of our services. So we help students with individual sessions. We have workshops. We have developmental programs. We can help with career counseling. I don't know if you guys would still want to do career counseling, but maybe if you're unsure if you're in the right direction. And then just in terms of how to book an appointment, you're welcome to come and visit us physically. Or you can phone us or send us an email, and we will book an appointment as soon as possible. So in terms of what we deal with, as I said, everything related to mental health. I think probably the most common one is just stress management. So how do you manage the pressures of being at university, and maybe a lot of you are also working part-time. So those are things that we can actually help you with managing. A lot of students actually struggle with depressive symptoms, so those are things that we will also make sure we can refer you to the right place, get you the right help and support. Once-off workshops are also available online, so we've got pre-recorded workshops, so maybe you want to learn a little bit more about coping with stress, but you don't have the time to come in for a session or workshop. You can actually just access it on our Blackboard page or our website. They're pre-recorded. We also have developmental programs, so they run over a period of weeks where we build on the previous week. And so we've got, for example, rational emotive behavioral therapy, which just in layman's terms is how do we manage those thoughts that are maybe very judgmental, critical, pressurized? What do we do with them? So we can give you a lot of resources in person, but we've actually established via COVID a lot of online resources as well for students. So we've got over 40 mental health articles that's on our Blackboard page and our website, as well as so like videos, podcasts as well. So everything that you would need is available online as well, 24/7 for you. Yeah, and then just in case you're not sure, we've got offices at Bloemfontein campus, Kwakwa campus, as well as South campus. So we've got resources across the board, but we work very well together in terms of referring students. If we cannot help, then we refer to other offices as well. All right, so now you had to listen to me and not see my presentation, so I hope I was not too boring. But if there's any questions, I'm still going to hang around till about 2 o'clock if possible. If there's anything specific you want to ask regarding seeing a psychologist, big thing, confidential. We will never ever share anything that you share with us because a lot of people are worried about that. Stays within the walls when you come and see us. We do also offer telephonic or video sessions. So if something that's actually worked well, we're not so sure if it's going to work, but now even those students are on campus, they sometimes will call and they're like, I'm running late from class, can we maybe just move our session to a telephonic or a video session? So we've got a hybrid approach to therapy as well. So we've got different options. And that's it from me. Oh.
Thank you so much, Ms. Lees. That was very informative, and thank you so much for that information. It is so comforting to know that there are institutions or facilities within this university that will help us with our mental health, because it has really taken a huge toll on us due to COVID-19. As I have mentioned in this past few years, it has not been easy. But now we are going to move on to Ms. Marichelle van Rooyen. She will be talking about ethical clearance and research ethics. Ms. Marichelle, the stage is yours.
Sê jy wys ek na hom toe, né? Kom aan toe. Okay, research ethics. That's probably the one word when you start. Oh, that's probably the one word when you start with research that's going to drive you crazy. And it's not necessary because there is help and there will be assistance. But what I'm going to share with you today is what does the Research Ethics Office do? What is research ethics? And the importance of applying for ethical clearance for your studies. Sjoe. Waar druk jy? Okay. So what does the research ethics do? Basically, we handle the administration of all research ethics committees. So all the different ethics committees, and there are 4 committees, and I'm going to explain a bit about that. But we handle all the administration with regards to that. We have help desk assistance, which means you don't need to struggle on your own. You can come and we will assist you with your application, explain to you the whole process, and assist you with everything to ensure that you get the ethical clearance to proceed with your research. And then we also develop and administrate the online system. You will hear a lot about RIMS. RIMS is our Research Information Management System. It's an online system, which means you apply for ethical clearance online on the system. We are in our office, is Willem Kilian. Boemo is my intern, which is she's a lovely lady, and she helped the students really with so much passion. She's really a nice girl. So you can at any time either contact our office, come to our office. You know where's the postgraduate school? We're just on the first floor. Postgraduate school on the ground floor, and we are on the first floor. So you can sit within our office. We do have an extra computer. So you can sit there, and we will assist you with the process, with the online process to apply for ethical clearance. Amanda Smith is handling all the administration. So when you want to know, when you have applied and you want to know how far is this in the process, Amanda will be the lady that can assist. Well, anyone will be available, but she handled all the administration. Mpo is my other colleague. The system is not only catering for ethics, it's also catering for other things like funding and agreements, research agreements. So Mpo is assisting me with that. And then I'm Maricel, and I develop the system basically, and I'm also an ethicist, so I also assist with any ethical issues. All right, so what is research ethics? Research ethics govern the standards of conduct for scientific research, meaning when you do research, there are certain things that you need to keep in mind before you start with your research, or before you have access to research participants, or certain things that you need to do in the correct way. If you don't do that in the correct way, it can have a lot of implications. It's also important to adhere to ethical principles. There are certain ethical principles which is not, we've got our national principles, but there are also the international principles. So you need to adhere to these principles when you do research. And that is in order to protect the dignity, the rights, and the welfare of your research participants. And it doesn't matter if your research participants are animals or humans, or if you're working in the environment, there are certain principles that you need to adhere to. And that is the task of the ethics office, of the ethics committee, to ensure when people do research that they do it in a correct and in an ethical way. Okay, so the importance of ethical practice in research. Ethics are integral to the conduct of research. When you design your project, when you collect the data for your research, and the publication and communication of findings and recommendations. Normally, people think they can get away with things. And then when they publish their research, I promise you there can be a lot of consequences if you didn't apply to the ethical rules that was set for the specific project. So from the start, because you apply for ethical clearance before you even start with your research, you cannot apply for ethical clearance afterwards. You need to have ethical clearance before you start with any data collection. So from the start, through the data collection process, and even when you publish, you need to keep in mind these ethical principles and the things that was set specifically for your research project. So research ethics, to be ethical, all research on animals and human participants, as well as the environment, must be scientifically sound. Way back, people did a lot of research that was quite unethical, and they probably got away with it. In these days, I can promise you, you can't get away with unethical practice in research. It will somehow have a lot of influence, influence on your research. And I'm going to share a case study with you because I like case studies, because that I can give you all these stories, but when you see what happens in practice, you understand what I mean. An ethics committee must review the ethical and scientific rigor of all research projects prior to commencement. Remember what I said? You cannot apply for ethical clearance afterwards. You need ethical clearance before you even start with your research or with your data collection. Okay. So ethics is basically all about what is right and what is wrong in the conduct of research. And if we think about law, and that is part of the thing, there are certain laws in place. Laws when you work with children, laws when you work in the environment, laws when you work with animals. There's laws in place. And law tells us what we must do. We can't do anything else. The law tells us what we must do. If we think about morality, morality tells us what we should do. We all know sometimes we do things that we not really should do. I can steal something, but I know I should not do that. I can do certain things in my ethics project, but I know I should not do that because that's morality. That's my inner morals. Ethics is the well-founded standards of right and wrong. There are specific principles in ethics which tells you what is right and what is wrong. And integrity is adherence to the strong moral and ethical principles and values. As I say, when you do research, you can think, doesn't matter, I'm going to do this, or I'm not going to do it the way the ethics committee want me to do it. But that is integrity, adherence to strong moral and ethical principles. A researcher, and you are now all researchers, a researcher needs to all of this. You need to obey the law, you need this morality that tells you what you should do, you need ethics that tells you what is right and what is wrong, and you need integrity to ensure that you do it in the correct way. Okay, so the importance of applying for ethical clearance. I've already told you that ethical clearance is required for any research project. So you cannot think, I'm going to do a project, but I'm not going to apply for ethical clearance. Unfortunately, that's not the case. You need to apply for ethical clearance before you start with anything. So collecting data or to use within your research need ethical approval, as I've already said, prior to the commencement of the study. And ethical approval is even required, even if you're not going to use human participants or animals, but you're only going to do a desktop study. Even then, you need ethical clearance. And the reason why? The ethics committee, that's a very quick process, but the ethics committee wants to know that it's really a desktop study, that you're not going to involve people or animals or anything in your study. So you will get an ethical clearance number. And what is also important, the reason why you need it is when you want to publish, the publishers or your publisher work, and we all want to publish our research at some stage, then the journals also ask, where's your ethical clearance? Now we can say, but why? The first law that says that you need ethics or ethical clearance was the first legislation in South Africa that regulated health research involving both human and animals, was this Act 61 of 2003. And now you can say, yeah, but I'm not going to do any health-related research. But then, in 2012, it changed. And now every research, every aspect of research are now signed into that law. The definition is very broad and it includes all human research in health as well as social sciences. So you can't get away with not getting ethical clearance. We adhere to the Singapore statement that says the value and benefit of research are vitally dependent on the integrity of research. And there can be differences, national or international, but globally, the ethical principles is basically all the same. All right, I've already said we have 4 ethics committees. We have our General Human Research Ethics Committee when you are in social sciences. We have the Human Health Research Ethics Committee when you are involved in health sciences. We've had the Animal Research Ethics Committee and the Environment and Biosafety Committee. So it's GHREC, HSREC, AREC, and EPREC. And you will apply to the one that's applicable to your specific research. I've already said that, how do I know that I need ethical clearance? All research projects need ethical clearance. Even minimal risk, I've already mentioned it. Why? In these days, you cannot graduate if you do not have ethical clearance. And that's not only us. It happened that people didn't get it, and then the external examiners ask for the ethical clearance, and if you haven't applied beforehand, before you have started, there's no way that you can get it afterwards. And when you want to publish, as I've already mentioned, then you also need to give proof of ethical clearance. I'm not going to cover this. I just put in this to show you that there are specific principles in the ethics that need to be adhered to: relevance and value of your research, the scientific integrity, the role player engagement, the fair balance of risk and benefits. There's always risks involved in any research, but you need to balance the risk against the benefits. Informed consent. You cannot force people to be part of your research. You need to have informed consent. Ongoing respect for your participants. They need to be informed. And then your researcher's competence. You cannot do research if it's not in your specific field. I remember a case where someone in social sciences wanted to use DNA monsters. It was not approved because the idea is that if you're in social sciences and you're not working with DNA, that's too complicated and you do not have the necessary knowledge to use that in your research. So you need to prove to the ethics committee that you do have the necessary competence and expertise, and therefore you also upload your CV to your application. All right, and that's just the rights of your participants. I'm not going to, for time's sake, that's just to say that your participants is always important, and you also and they've got their rights. They have the right to decide. They can start with and say they will participate, but at any time they can tell you, no, I'm not going to participate anymore. So it's always important to remember that. We also now, every one of you know about POPI or POPIA, and that it's even more strict now that when you gather information from your participants, there are certain things that need to be in place to ensure that you do not share the information, that that you handle it in the correct way, and that's a law that forces us to handle it in a certain way. All right, I've talked about the RIMS, the Research Information Management System, and that is what we will assist you with on the system to apply for ethical clearance. Do I have a few minutes to share the case study with them? Okay. I want to share this case study because I want you to think for yourself, what would you do if you were in this specific case? A postgraduate student enrolled for an M degree in education applied for ethical clearance in May 2016. Remember May, in May she applied for ethical clearance. She's from a small town in the Karoo, and the interaction with the supervisor took place via email. The ethics clearance application was submitted online to the supervisor, who neglected to attend to the application. Therefore, it did not reach the ethics committee. However, the supervisor told the student to proceed with data collection. The online ethics application, when you apply online, it first route to your supervisor. Your supervisor needs to accept it before it can reach the ethics office. If she doesn't accept it, it's still lying with her, and this is what happened in this case. But unfortunately, not the supervisor nor the student followed up on it or anything. She just proceeded with her research. The M studies was about the education of mathematics, and the student, a mathematical teacher, developed a problem-solving technique, and the data was gathered at a school, and she used children. When you use children research, there are a lot of rules that you need to ensure, ethical rules that need to be ensured. So the student submitted 3 chapters of the thesis to the supervisor in September. Remember, she applied in May. It never reached the ethics committee. It was never approved, but she proceeded with her research, and in September, she already submitted some of her chapters. The supervisor then realized that the student would not be able to obtain a degree without ethical clearance and told the student to resubmit an ethical clearance application, but also advised her to proceed with the analysis of the data in the meantime to save time. At the request of the supervisor, the student submitted a second ethical clearance application in October 2017. What happened? The ethics committee rejected the application as the data has already been collected and analyzed. The student was not familiar with the ethics procedures at the institution, and the supervisor wrongly misled her with the wrong advice, because it seems that the supervisor was also new, also didn't realize the importance of ethics. So in November 2017, the recommendation of the ethics committee was as follows. A new set of data collection must be done according to the fact that data has already been collected previously. The old set of data must be sent to the faculty to ensure that the same data is not used. It also requested that she attach a signed letter to indicate that she agreed to the conditions stipulated in the feedback. Remember now, all the time she lost, she did all the chapters, and now they say, sorry, you can't proceed. The chair of the ethics committee sent a letter to all supervisors with the following comment. Even if there were a case of inadequate supervision to consider in such a case, it would still not justify unethical conduct by the researcher in collecting data without permission or approval. So what's the issue here? The student feels that the supervisor misled her and that she lost a lot of time and money in the process. But yeah, we can say, all right, it's all the supervisor's fault, but I can promise you it's not. Not all. Yes, the supervisor had a lot was wrong in this case, but you, every one of you that's sitting here is now a researcher. You take responsibility for your research and for yourself. On the system, it's very easy to follow up what happened with your application. If you see that your application is now 2 weeks with your supervisor, you contact us or you contact the supervisor and say, please, what's the problem? So follow up on your application. You can do it yourself on the system. If you're not familiar with the system, we are there to assist you all the way to ensure that this thing is not stuck with a person, that it goes through all the processes to the ethics committee, that the ethics committee can review it. Sometimes the ethics committee send it back to you to do some revisions. You need to do the revisions, submit it again, and once you have approval, you will receive an ethical clearance number and an approval letter. Okay, that's my story. Thank you, and yeah.
Thank you so much, Ms. Marichal. Thank you for informing us about ethics. I hope every researcher in here took that information into consideration. Now we are going to relax, sit back, and enjoy a short performance. But before I call Dylan into the stage, kindly please follow us on our social media pages. You use the hashtag Postgraduate Welcoming 2022. If you're going to use Instagram, it's at UFS PGS. If you're going to use Facebook, it's Postgraduate School UFS. Ladies and gentlemen, let us please give our undivided attention to Dylan, who will be doing a short performance for us. Dylan, on the stage, please.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm not sure if anybody would know this much. I was also invited to this event, but I didn't know I'd be standing on the stage as well. I'm quite stoked to be here. Thank you for having me. This performance is called A Cruel Angel's Thesis. Like an angel with cruel and merciless intent, go forth and you'll become a legend. In time, this blue of the sky will reach out to knock on the door to your heart. You're looking at me, make it all that you see. Content, and we're merely smiling. Once more, the touch you long for consumes you in yearning to find that embrace. You're unaware though, now to what fate will sow. Temptation implores you to know, someday you'll notice, I pray that you'll realize. These wings on your back aren't to dream, at last. You'll have all you need to escape to, the world where you'll finally be free. This was all a cruel angel's thesis from the start, brought to life, out window. Now, it's taking flight. Scorching pathos, if you betray your memory, follow this deviant divine philosophy. Shining more than these stars that bathe the galaxy, go forth and you'll become a legend. With grace and in my embrace, you fall deep into sleep, so tempted to say, in the morning that falls, you alone will be called by message from the realm of dreams. Moonlight reflects in your sight, the night that's around you invites radiance. And it's all in goodwill, but if time could stand still, at this moment, I'd freeze. If there is meaning in two people meeting, then maybe we're doing this right. Within this trial, that might be the Bible, the way that we'll both reach the light. This was all a cruel angel's thesis from the start. It is time for the sorrow in us to arise. You held tightly to all that is left intangible. Stuck between both reality and a dream, you outshine any mortal who has walked the earth. Go forth and become a legend. People who weave love, create without knowing, and carve a path throughout history. Though I'll take a stand, I'm still only human. The God you need cannot be me. This was all a cruel angel's thesis from the start, brought to life out window, now it's taking flight. Scorching pathos, if you betray your memory, follow this deviant divine philosophy. Shining more than the stars that bathe the galaxy, go forth and become a legend.
That was sensational. If you found that amazing, a round of applause, please. Thank you so much, Dylan. Thank you so much. And now, ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Sebastian Yam will grace us with his presence on the stage. But before he comes and speaks about importance of belonging to a postgraduate community, kindly please allow me to read his biography. Dr. Yong Sebastian Yam is an agricultural economist and disaster risk management specialist. His research is focused on designing decision support tools in the form of models that can assist decision makers to evaluate the impact of different scenarios or policies in an uncertain global future. Using systems thinking tools and system dynamics modeling, he has engaged stakeholders at different levels in a participatory approach to develop formal system-based models to achieve sustainability outcomes. His focus is to create a nexus between water, land, and food systems as they relate to sustainable development. He is equally focused on understanding how communities can build resilience to different hazards using holistic disaster risk assessment tools. Yong is a consultant at the World Bank where he works in the urban disaster risk management, resilience, and land global practice. His work focuses on urban resilience projects, especially urban food systems and disaster risk assessment in Eastern and Southern African countries. Yong is also a researcher in the Disaster Management Training and Education Center for Africa, DIM-TEC, at the University of the Free State in South Africa. Yong holds a PhD in disaster management at the University of the Free State, a master's in agricultural economics at the same institution, and a bachelor's degree in economics at the University of Biu, Cameroon. Ladies and gentlemen, a warm welcome to Dr. Yong Sebastian Yam.
Thank you very much for having me. When they were reading my biography, I was blushing. I didn't know they were talking about me. When they invited me to come and speak to postgraduate students today, to share my experiences as a postgraduate student, to also advise postgraduate students on how to actually build strong postgraduate communities and build strong networks. So this afternoon, I'm going to actually share my journey a little bit as an agricultural economist, as a disaster manager. I came to South Africa in 2015. I came in one suitcase, and in that suitcase, I had a few clothes. I came with no cell phone, no laptop, but that bag was full with dreams and ambitions. And after 2 years of studying here, I wanted to be the best student, so I put in the effort, studied. I used some of the resources that were at my disposal, like the postgraduate school, some of the workshops that are there, I made use of them. But one thing I did not realize was I needed to build a stronger community beyond the university. I was the best student, passed well with a master's degree, but I didn't realize that beyond having a qualification, that you needed more. So there I was with my qualification, and 2017, I applied for almost everything, PhD opportunities, jobs, and all I got were, as I always say very nicely, we are sorry to inform you. And they actually informed me, like, I got over 12 to 15 rejections that year alone. I didn't realize that beyond my good academic record, that I needed to have a good CV. I needed, as a researcher, to have a good research background. I had no publications because nobody mentored me on the importance of publishing, the importance of building a good foundation. So I had a good qualification, but no experience. So basically, I had no value to offer. So today, I really want to hammer on building value. I see a lot of postgraduate students on platforms like LinkedIn asking employers for work. When you actually go to a company and say you want to work on LinkedIn, what they do is they redirect you to their vacancies on their website. So what they're basically telling you is you actually do not even have the patience to go to our website to look for a job. So what I want to tell you guys today is how do you build value as a postgraduate student? Beyond studying hard to get a qualification, how do you build yourself so that when you speak to somebody, you're not telling them you're looking for a job, you're telling them you want to partner. You want to add value to the company because of the skills that you have developed. A postgraduate is nothing like undergraduate. Undergraduate, you have course mates that you do coursework with, that you can study together and do work together. Postgraduate, you are doing your research on your own, you're working on your topic alone. And it's a very lonely journey. You are there with your supervisor, and some supervisors could actually be frustrating. So you are there on your own with your supervisor. PhD students is more frustrating because it's a whole journey. So you are there for 4 years or for 2 years doing a research. For PhDs, you are excited that when you finish, they'll call you a doctor. But beyond a doctor, what do you have to offer? So you have to learn quickly that you need to go look beyond just reading your research and writing papers. You need to look to build a community. Like on LinkedIn, I think I spend almost 6 to 7 hours a day on LinkedIn, building a community, building networks, reaching out to people. And I also expect every postgraduate student in here to have a ResearchGate account. ResearchGate is a community for researchers. If you don't have a ResearchGate account, then I'm not sure that you are ready for the postgraduate journey. Go on there, create an account, reach out to researchers. During my PhD, the methodology that I was using, my supervisors were not versed with the method. So I had to look for somebody that actually knew how to use the method. I went on ResearchGate, and when you are doing your research, you read papers that are interesting to you. You can actually reach out to some of those researchers, and ResearchGate is one of the best platforms that you can reach out to researchers directly. Build platforms. Use those platforms that you have. The postgraduate school has actually also developed like a really good platform for students with some of the workshops that they have. They teach you how to use softwares. And as a researcher, you also need to know how to do your research by yourself by learning how to use softwares. Basic software like SPSS, Stata. You need to know how to actually do mathematical modeling. So you need to use these platforms to build yourself. Also, I really also want to talk about some of the programs that are out there as a PhD, as a postgraduate student. You also need to look at some of the fellowships that are out there, exchange programs. Fellowships in some of these international organizations, like the one I got with the World Bank. It is a program for PhD students. If you're a PhD student, that you really want to actually go beyond PhD and build yourself with industry-related knowledge, look at some of those opportunities and apply for them. You actually have to show people what you can do and not just a qualification at the end of the day. So when you're actually sitting here, know that at the end, maybe after your PhD, they'll call you a doctor. But it shouldn't just be a title. You should be a doctor because you're making important contributions to society, because you are building solutions to problems that are actually urgent, especially right now in Africa. We're talking about food security issues. We are talking about gender-related issues. We are talking about inclusivity. So therefore, you should actually be looking at, when designing your PhD topic, your master's topic, look at real societal problems that you can solve. Go beyond filling a research gap. like they always say. Yeah, your research problem should be about filling a research gap. But it shouldn't be just about filling a research gap. You should fill a societal gap. Just like you starting a business, they always ask you the question, what is the problem you want to solve? And is that problem relevant? And is there money in that problem? So in research right now, we are asking you, the problem you are trying to solve right now, who are you solving that problem for? Are you just doing it because you want to get a qualification at the end of the day, or you are doing it because you want to actually solve a societal problem? Because when you start developing solutions to societal problems, then that is when you start becoming useful to society and you start building value. So that when you finish, you just don't have a qualification, but you have tools that are necessary to solve societal problems. So today, we are actually trying to come up with mentorship programs that will assist postgraduate students like yourself who are struggling, students who do not know what they want to do after they finish their qualifications. These days, almost everybody is trying to get a master's or a PhD. So there's nothing special about getting a PhD again. What is special about getting a PhD right now is about how useful can you be to society. And when people see that you are useful, when people see that you are of value, they will always give you a chance. Don't go to people and say you are looking for work. Go to people and say you have developed a solution, how can we partner? A CEO will listen to you if you say, I've developed a solution to problems that are related to what you are doing. How do we partner? But you go say you're looking for work, automatically they see you as a liability. As a case in point, 2 years ago, back home in my home country of Cameroon, 150 PhD students were protesting in front of the Ministry of Higher Education that they needed jobs. PhD students, PhD graduates, they needed jobs. They start asking yourself, what were they doing during their PhDs that they need the government to employ them? If not, they will be unemployed. That is a question that you have to start asking yourself. If the government doesn't give you work, if a company doesn't give you work, can you use your research to develop work for yourself? Today, through my research, I'm a consultant for the World Bank. Through the research, through the knowledge and systems that I've built over the years, I've been able to develop a system where the World Bank can actually consult me for my skills. Be of value. Go beyond your qualification. I work for the World Bank where nobody answers doctor or professor. I call the World Bank president by his name, David. But it's okay, because he is not valued in that organization because of the qualification that he has, but because of the contribution that he can make. So beyond your qualification, what can you offer? I tell all the students that I'm supervising, don't call me a doctor. Call me Sebastian. Because the moment somebody starts calling you a doctor, they actually start feeling intimidated. I want you to feel free. I want you to see my value not because I have a PhD, but because I can contribute something to you and to your community. So beyond being a doctor, I want to be a tool. So I'm inviting you guys today to use the resources that you have. Build communities. I started learning from my PhD when we actually came together as PhD students from different African countries and African students from different universities around the world. We created a WhatsApp group. By speaking there, you actually discover there are people that are doing things related to what you are doing. And here, when I was speaking there, I saw that students were doing their PhD, and they were publishing, but I wasn't. I only had one publication after I finished my PhD, and I published my first paper in 2020. Nobody mentored me. And most supervisors here are not telling students about the importance of publishing. When I started talking to people, I saw that other students from other universities were publishing every day. And there I was doing a PhD with a single publication. Your journey in academia is valued by the work that you do. How much have you published? I started learning that I could actually do my PhD via publication. So I just didn't write a book. I just didn't do like a book that I was sent to the library. All my chapters were published. So when you finish, you are not just finishing as a PhD holder, you are finishing as somebody that has proven that they can do research, and the work has been published in international journals even before they graduate. That is value. And that's because I was able to be a part of a community of young PhD students who were hungry as I was at the time. I learned that you can do just much more than just do research. You can add value to society. So today we're telling you, just don't do research. Create solutions that are useful to society. Come together and form groups, book clubs. Create groups that can actually be meaningful to you. Reach out to people. Use LinkedIn professionally, which means reach out to professionals. Some of them will respond to you, some of them won't, but you have to try. If you follow me on LinkedIn, then you actually see I post opportunities, I share opportunities there every day. So nobody can sit there and say there are no opportunities, there are. You just don't know how to look for them. You have to build the right communities. At the end of the day, they say your network is a net worth, which means the people that you interact with, the people that you deal with on a daily basis will determine where you go from here after your postgraduate degree. We are always available to assist. Like myself, I'm making myself available to mentor. I'm going back home now to mentor, to tell students that they can be much more. The educational system is telling us to do things in a particular way. But we are saying that we can break that cycle and do things in our own way. Create solutions that can actually build our communities. But before I leave, I'll actually give this example of a guy from Tanzania who said he had this friend that left from Europe and came back to visit the country. So what he did was he was complaining about how bad the country was, the economy was, how things were not moving well. So the person said, let's take a drive around the capital. So they took a drive around the capital. When they came back, the guy said, you actually see the problems that we have. So he said he didn't see problems, he saw opportunities. What the person saw as problems, he saw that you can develop solutions to those problems that you're complaining about every day. Look around your neighborhood, there's always a problem there. There's a problem in our society. And there's a job problem right now. Youths are unemployed, so we need creative graduates. You cannot graduate here and go add to the number of the unemployed. See solutions, see opportunities in the problems that are in your communities, in your society, rather than see them as problems. Like they say, if you're looking for excuses, you will find them always. If you're looking for opportunities, you're looking for solutions, you will definitely find them. So I'm available. You can actually reach me through, I think, Ria here, for us to talk. Invite me for lunch and let us talk. Invite me for coffee, let us talk. There are opportunities out there. There is so much more that you can do. And we are willing to share our knowledge. I have a good network. People in different fields that are willing to mentor. Let us talk. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Sebastian. That was very fruitful, informative, and inspiring. Thank you once more again. A round of applause again, please. Because we genuinely appreciate your presence, we would love to give you a gift for Dr. Sebastian. Thank you so much. Once more again, ladies and gentlemen, social media pages. If you are in Instagram at UFS PGS, if you're at Facebook, Postgraduate School UFS, you use the hashtag Postgraduate Welcoming 2022. Now we're going to move on to the next item. We are going to welcome Dr. Pamela Makade. Dr. Makade is the Chief Officer for Academic Writing at the Center for Graduate Support. She will talk about the academic writing support offered to postgraduates by the department. Dr. Pamela, please grace us with your presence on the stage. Greetings to you all and a warm welcome to all our postgraduate students. I am going to talk to you about the right space, which is one of the which falls under the academic writing portfolio. And the right space actually aims to provide academic writing support to all postgraduate students, regardless of level of study. So if you are an honors student, a master's student, and even a doctoral student, you're more than welcome to approach the right space for all your academic writing needs. The support is also extended to staff members who are busy with their postgraduate studies as well. So the right space actually aims to effectively and also innovatively devise interventions for all postgraduate students and to facilitate the development of skills related to conceptualization of your research, basically how to communicate your research, and also presentation skills. So bearing in mind that a lot of you may not exactly be prepared for postgraduate study, okay, we provide training in all areas related to academic writing. Then we also provide the right space writing consultations. The right space also has an online portal on Blackboard, which offers online resources related to academic writing. And also we offer writing diets and writing retreats in which you get the opportunity to write and complete chapters of your dissertations or thesis without any interruptions, and also the language development tool, which is Grammarly. I will talk about all of these in detail. So the right space collaborates with the Research Capacity Development Portfolio, which is one of the portfolios that fall under the Center for Graduate Support, obviously to coordinate and also conceptualize the topics under academic writing support. So among these, okay, there is the generic academic writing guidelines. There is also plagiarism and referencing, then producing an article from a thesis. So for those of you who are doctoral students who are perhaps interested and also considering producing articles from their thesis, then you're more than welcome to attend these webinars in which you'll be taught how to produce an article from your thesis. Then over and above those, we also offer webinars on critical reading. Remember, at postgraduate level, you're expected to critically engage and also evaluate all the readings and all the literature that you will use for your research. So you will be taught how to question, how to evaluate the readings, and also to critically engage with the readings. We also offer webinars on abstract writing, argumentation, how to build and develop your argumentation in your research and also in your thesis writing, and also finalizing your thesis for those of you who are at the final stages of their thesis or dissertation write-up. So other than just the workshops or the webinars, the Right Space also offers consultations. Okay. At the moment, all of the writing consultations are online, and as the year progresses, we will start also including the face-to-face consultations. So to be able to book for writing consultation, you can contact me directly. I will show my details on the screen there, or you can also send an email directly to the Right Space email address, and you can download the form and complete the form and submit it. I also urge you to please submit your chapters of your thesis or your dissertations or even your research proposals in advance of your appointment so that the writing consultant can get the chance to read your work and also be prepared for your discussion during the appointment. And also remember that at the right space, the review of your scripts, that is your thesis or dissertation chapters or your articles, is always in a non-judgmental and also in an empathic manner. So don't feel that we will judge you, but we understand that very often writing can be a challenge, and at the right space, we strive to ensure that you develop the necessary academic writing skills required at postgraduate level so that by the time you complete your studies, you are an advanced scholarly writer. Then over and above the writing consultations, we also offer writing interventions in the form of writing dyads and writing retreats. So the writing dyads are specifically aimed at you postgraduate students and your supervisor. So unfortunately, you can't submit an individual application for the writing dyads, but you have to speak to your supervisors, and they will organize and coordinate within the department or faculty to apply for the writing dyads. So you will be given the chance to write your thesis chapters or dissertation chapters without any interruptions. Then for those of you who are staff members, but also postgraduate students, you can also apply for writing retreats. That is if you are busy with your articles intended for journal submission, and within those you will receive the writing support necessary for you to write up your article and also refine it for journal submission. Then, as I mentioned earlier, the Right Space also offers useful and very informative online resources available on Blackboard. And if you go to the UFS postgraduate page on Blackboard, you will be able to access the Right Space page, okay? So the full details will be emailed to all of you, and also the instructions on how to access the Right Space online resources. And from there, you can also complete your online booking for your consultation. If for any chance you are struggling with access to Blackboard, there is the email address to which you can send your request so that you can have access to Blackboard and specifically the postgraduate school. So please do remember that all the services at the Right Space are free. We do not charge for the writing support that we offer, and even for reading your scripts and for the consultations. All the services are free, and also we do not offer any editing or proofreading services. Very often we've received requests from students and also staff asking if the consultants can proofread or edit their work. Unfortunately, we do not edit or proofread the work. We provide you with the necessary guidance to ensure that you develop the necessary academic writing skills that you need to write up your thesis or dissertation. So should you be in need of an editor, of a proofreader, yes, you are more than welcome to send me an email, and I will provide you with a list of proofreaders or editors that you can communicate with and liaise with regards to editing of your thesis. Then we also offer Grammarly, which is a very useful language tool. And obviously for those of you who struggle with the basic language, grammar, and writing skills, if you do sign up for Grammarly, Grammarly will provide guidance and also will revise and also pick up any errors related to language use and also grammar and spellings. So if you do need to sign up for Grammarly, please do send me an email as well, and I'll give you the details for the ICT team that is responsible for Grammarly registration. So, okay, so there are the details for the Grammarly email address, and at the bottom also are the links to the videos on how to use Grammarly. Okay, with that, I thank you all colleagues, and I wish you all a very good year ahead of you. I'm just going to go back the slides so that you can see the contact details for the right space and also for the online booking form and also my email address as well. Okay, thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Pamela. That was very informative. Now we are moving on to funding options for postgraduates. We are going to welcome Mr. Prince Khoza. Mr. Khoza is the Chief Officer for the funding portfolio at the Center for Graduate Support. He will be talking about the different types of funding and financial support available for postgraduates. Let us kindly please welcome Mr. Prince Khoza.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome. So, my name is Prince Khoza, as mentioned. So, I will just give you more info on the funding options that we have for postgrad students. So, my office deals with funding, as it is on the screen. So, we handle the UFS tuition fee funding and the NRF, and we do have faculties that offer funding to students. So by UFS, I mean that the university offers funding for students because the university does care for postgraduate students. So the university does offer funding for postgrad diploma students, for honors, masters, and PhDs. So I will give you more info on that in the next slides. Most of our opportunities that we have are going to be published through a newsletter. So we have a quarterly newsletter that is sent to all students, so please look out for that one. It will have all the funding opportunities also. We also use the UFS for Life email addresses. So I plead with you, postgrad students, please make use of your UFS for Life email accounts, because we will not be sending emails to your personal email addresses, but we'll always communicate through the university's official emails. So please take note of that. Also on the website, the UFS website, the main website, under postgrad students, you will find funding opportunities that might be relevant to you. But for today, please allow me to touch on these two main funding sources. That is the NRF and the university's own funding. First, I will speak on the NRF. The NRF offers funding for honors, masters, and PhDs. And I have indicated there the opening dates. As you can see, it's the 1st of April, which means next month, the NRF will be opening applications for 2023, not for this year. So for this year, applications closed last year. So if you are going to need funding for your honors, your masters, your PhD, please make sure you look out for a call when it goes out next month. I have also indicated the closing dates. For example, for honor students, you'll have to apply from next month until October. So please stick to those dates. Those are UFS dates. So each university has their own application dates. What's also important to note is that we are going to have sessions or webinars for NRF where we are going to explain to you how to go about applying and give you all the guidelines. So please, if you see a call to attend the webinar about the NRF funding, please do attend. It will really help you in submitting your application on time. The next slide, I thought I should just mention what the NRF offers in terms of allowances. For example, for honor student, you might get up to 144,000. That's a lot of money, which will go a long way in assisting you in your studies. For PhD, up to 170. So please make use of the NRF. Still on the NRF, the criteria, how do you qualify for funding? I'll start with the honors. So the honors, you can either be funded at full cost or at partial cost. To qualify for full cost, you need to have 75% average in your undergrad, or 65, but you're financially needy, meaning that at some point you could have used NSFAS in your undergrad. Please note that there's an age limit. You need to be 28 years of age or younger in your year of application for honors funding. So this year you must be 28 years or younger to qualify for funding for next year for NRF. For masters, same criteria, 25% and above for full cost of study funding, or partial cost of study. You can still get funded at partial cost, but at a minimum of 65% average. There's also an age limit of 30 years or younger. Same with the PhD. You need to have 75% and above. So if you have 75% and above, you will be sorted. Otherwise, then you might qualify for the partial cost if you are at 65%. That is the NRF. So now the university, as I've mentioned, does offer funding for students, but this only covers tuition. So funding is offered for honors, masters, and PhD. And because the university wants to advance its vision of being research-led, this year we are piloting funding for postgrad diploma students. So we are funding postgraduate diploma students, and we are also funding structured master students. So you can receive funding from the university, and it's for international and South African students. How do you qualify? For honors and postgrad diploma, it's 65% average and above. You also must have completed your undergrad, a degree within the minimum prescribed period, and you must be full-time registered. So this funding is usually catered for those who don't have any other funding, so that we can assist you guys to complete your studies. PhD and masters, as I've mentioned, we fund first and second year research master students. We fund first and second year structured master students. For PhD is from first year to third year, and all students are eligible, whether South African or international. So you might have seen that I've only touched on those two, the NRF and the UFS. That does not mean that those are the only opportunities we have. Those are the only ones that are within our control. But we do have external funding opportunities that we advertise on the website, as I've mentioned. So please take time just to go to our website and see what opportunities are there for you. Lastly, there is our contact details for the funding office. My colleague, Mr. Ramudzori, is also there to assist you guys. So if you need anything, if you have any funding challenges, even if you don't have funding for you now, but please let us know how we can assist so that you can complete your studies successfully. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Koza. A round of applause again, please. Ladies and gentlemen, every conversation, every speaker has been nothing but inspiring and sensational. Thank you so much also for your undivided attention. And now serves as a break purpose. Kindly please, you can go to the stalls at the back there, next to the entrance, whereby you can interact with the departments. You will be given 15 minutes for interaction, and then after 15 minutes, kindly please come back to the venue for refreshments purposes, and also you can witness the performance of the Bloemfontein Choir. Just go to the stalls near the entrance to interact with each department you would love, and also after 15 minutes, will you please come to the venue for refreshment purposes and the choir. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, can you please come back in? Please bless us with your presence once more again. Break was worthwhile. Now I would love you to give me your undivided attention as I'm about to excite your ears. The Bloemfontein Choir is about to bless our ears under the direction of Mrs. Bongile Mngoma. A round of applause for the Bloemfontein Choir. They never disappoint. They never disappoint. A round of applause again. Woo! Sensational. Amazing. Thank you so much, Ms. Bongile. Thank you so much. You have blessed our ears again and again and again. Thank you so, so much. Ladies and gentlemen, if I could stand here and acknowledge every speaker, I would never really finish. But honestly, I am acknowledging every speaker, every conversation or dialogue. It was so fruitful, inspiring, and sensational. This was a beautiful event. It simply means that you do belong, as I've said in the beginning. You are a part of this university. You are a part of this campus. You're an important part of this community. From me as Yibanat Maginana, I want to thank the Postgraduate School for the opportunity to MC at this prestigious event. The Arts and Culture Office for providing opportunities for students to develop talents while studying. I will also want to apologize for any shortcomings and errors as well, especially titles. I'm very sorry. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for having me as your MC. I want you to enjoy the rest of the day and have a beautiful academic year. But before you depart the venue, I would like to speak on campus tours by the Postgraduate Student Council. You have been given cards, I do believe, as you came in here. The cards are green, yellow, and blue. Is that right, Ria? Green, yellow, and red, and purple. Green, yellow, and purple. We also have tour guides that will be assigned at certain doors. If you are holding a green card, please go to the green tour guide. If you are holding a yellow card, please go to the yellow tour guide. If you are holding a red card, purple card, please go to the purple tour guide. Your tour guides will also lead you to refreshments. There are refreshments that are served at the refreshment stalls. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you once more again. Thank you very much.